convicted criminal pleaded guilty to murdering two Maryland sisters who vanished more than 40 years ago. Sheila and Katherine Lyon were 12 and 10 years old when they disappeared from a shopping mall in 1975. The mystery rattled the region and sent fear through the community. Lloyd Lee Welch, a former carnival worker, will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars for their murders. Chip Reid is at the Wheaton Mall in Maryland, where the girls were last seen decades ago. Many people remember this story. 40 years later. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning. It was just an ordinary day 42 years ago when those two young girls walked from their nearby home to this mall. Their mother told them be home by 4 p.m., but they never returned. And for many people in this community, their disappearance is still a painful memory.
Investigators canvassed neighborhoods by air and on the ground after 10-year-old Katherine and 12-year-old Sheila disappeared. But leads turned into dead ends and the case went cold.
This is a very tough case because the girls were never found. There was no crime scene. There was no forensic evidence.
Captain Darren Frank leads Montgomery County's Major Crimes Division. He said many officers in his unit were haunted by the case. So 4 years ago, they took a fresh look.
You start saying, wait a minute, there's something here, and then finding that connection.
They discovered a composite sketch of a man with long hair detailed by a witness who claimed this person was staring at the girls. That sketch matched a mugshot of Lloyd Welch. Police records showed Welch came into the police station shortly after the girls disappeared and offered misleading information. Officers discounted him and thought he was trying to get the reward money. 40 years later, Welch was in a Delaware jail, convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl. Detective Mark Janney with the Cold Case Unit spent more than 100 hours interrogating the man he calls a monster.
He has no compassion, no humanity, and he's right where he needs to be.
Welch confessed he lured the two sisters into a vehicle and witnessed someone sexually assault one and murder Katherine. He said he then brought Katherine's body to Bedford, Virginia, where his family had property. On Tuesday, Welch pled guilty in Bedford to 2 counts of first-degree murder, but investigators say he never admitted to killing the girls and did not act alone. The final resting place of Sheila is still unknown. The Lyon family offered their thanks to the unit.
They have treated Sheila and Kate as if they were their own sisters or daughters.
Welch, who is 60 years old, was sentenced to 48 years behind bars. Now, investigators say they have a file full of the names of people who they believe know something about this case, and they hope that eventually someone will come forward and tell them the whole truth. Gayle?
Yeah, you still, after all this time. I remember that story, guys, because I was working at a D.C. station at the time. And at the time, it was so shocking because you didn't hear about child abductions that way. And you see her little glasses and her little sister. And back then, you would always let your kids walk to the mall and walk to the store. It totally changed how everybody behaved back in that day.
Only imagine.
It physically makes me sick. I remember that story very vividly. Thank you very much, Chip.